This is a 2021 Ram ProMaster. It's the 136-inch wheelbase, high roof. It's a V6 gas motor. As you step in, this is the living room, the kitchen, and is also my office. Around this side here in the kitchen, we have our spice rack. So the spice rack up a lot more. If I didn't have the swivels with this van, I would feel pretty tight and cramped up front. The shorter wheelbase, obviously, is less square footage. To store 4 full-size 29er mountain bikes with wheels on. And in designing this van, I prioritize my garage space over my sleeping headspace. The other thing I would change about this build, if I were to do it differently, is I would make this cabinet. What's up, you guys? Jake Ingram here. We're at the 2023 Sea Otter Classic, and I'm gonna give you guys my van home tour. This is a 2021 Ram ProMaster. It's the 136-inch wheelbase, high roof. It's a V6 gas motor. I bought it new in fall of 2021. I did an expedited build, so I busted out the build in 3 months during that off season, all while training for the 22 race season. And then last year, in the beginning of 22, I moved into the van, was on the road racing bikes, and yeah, fast forward to now, we're out here at Sea Otter, hanging out, enjoying the vibes, racing bikes, and want to take you guys in and show you what it's all about. As you step in, this is the living room, the kitchen, and is also my office. So I've got these 2 kitchen units here. I've actually built them at different heights, and the reason being is for this kitchen, this sink unit here is it's actually an 11-inch bowl depth in this sink itself. So what that means is I wanted to be able to have the fridge, the sink, and a shoe cubby so I can put shoes in here and have some extra storage. And in doing so, I needed a little bit extra height to make it all happen clearance-wise. This kitchen unit here is about 4 inches lower. It's equipped with a slide-out chopping board, so I can use this to chop my vegetables. If I want to work on my laptop, it's also like an additional desk space here if I want to stand up and type or whatever it may be. I got 3 big units here for storage. Got tons of snack storage. I've got clothing storage, and then the last one's kind of overflow, more clothes, lights, gloves, things like that. One of the other really great things about the Ram ProMaster is the factory overhead storage here. So this is factory. I didn't have to buff this in. It's quite deep and it holds quite a bit of stuff. So that's nice for overflow storage. You know, living in a van is all about optimizing your space and finding little nooks and crannies to put things so that you can stay organized and maintain the chaos, if that makes sense. But yeah, both of these overhead cabinets, the front and the one in the back, are the same exact size. I built them to spec, and this one serves as my pantry, from dry food storage. I also have the fruit hammock, which is a very nice way to store your bananas, avocados, keep things fresh on that front. We've got our induction stovetop. So this is an 1800 watt induction stove, otherwise known as like a hot plate. Some people might call it a hot plate. I'm able to run a toaster oven as well, and of course the Dometic DC fridge freezer. So this is a fridge freezer combo unit. I'm gonna open it up here if you want to see inside, get an idea of the storage space. So all of this is fridge space, and then the top part is freezer space. So I do make a lot of smoothies, so I've always got frozen fruit on board. Big smoothie guy, gotta get those recovery shakes. And speaking of recovery, this stuff, man, your Flow Formulas recovery drink mix, check them out. Jake15 will get you 15% off their website if you've never tried this stuff. They also have their endurance drink mix. It is tasty, very nice stuff. But yeah, back to the van build. If you come around this side here in the kitchen, we have our spice rack. So this spice rack got miscellaneous spices and whatnot, extra supplements, vitamins, places to store water bottles. Again, any additional nooks and crannies that you can keep things organized is always a plus. Underneath the side here, I have my paper towel holder, which I am out. Got your towel rack with a hook right here. Another thing to note about this kitchen and living space area is these 2 swivel seats. So if you turn around here, both of these, the passenger and the driver's seat, are factory swivels. So they came with the swivel installed. So they just flip around super easily. And it makes this space open up a lot more. If I didn't have the swivels with this van, I would feel pretty tight and cramped up front. The shorter wheelbase, obviously, is less square footage, but having these swivel seats makes it feel a little more roomy, a little bit more homey up here. I can invite friends in to sit down and share a meal, whatever it may be, and it works quite nice. And if you come on in this way, another one of my favorite features of the galley is this overhead door jamb cubby. This was probably one of the most time-consuming pieces of woodwork that I actually did on the build. This door jamb is a very unique cut. So on the side, I had to do some pretty unique scribing in order to build it. If you come around this side, you can kind of see how it is built out alongside that outline. And yeah, it's also like, it's not huge, but it's where I keep my toothbrush, my brush. I've got my little toiletry bag. Again, some more vitamins up here. And I also have my dimmer light switch mounted into this here. So this goes full off, and then you can have the lights at a low setting all the way up to high. And so I do have 4 LED puck lights. These are the warm light. You know, you can get warm or cool in the LEDs. I went with warm this time around. I have cool lights up underneath here. So when I'm cooking at night and I want a little bit brighter light power, these are quite nice there. Kind of wraps the kitchen area. If you notice here, so I got my trash can. This is a Webasto gas heater unit. So in those winter months, this heater is crucial. The full van is actually insulated with Havelock wool, so it's sheep's wool. So the van maintains heat and stays cool in those summer months quite nicely, but the heater is definitely a game changer. So this is where the magic happens, the bike garage. I'm able to store 4 full-size 29er mountain bikes with wheels on. And in designing this van, I prioritize my garage space over my sleeping headspace. I do sleep quite nicely, and I bonked my head a few times at first, but you get used to it, and it's really not a big issue. But having this big, large garage space, this is actually 48 inches tall, right at 4 feet. So I'm able to get up in here and move around. Towards the back here, I've got like a full part shelf. I keep spare tires, I keep spare parts, everything from pedals to sealant, rubbing alcohol. You know, alongside here, I've got tons of hooks to keep my helmets and my protection, my shoes all stored nice and tidy. If you notice here, this box that's built out, this is actually my water tank. So a brand out of Canada called Curious Camper Vans, they make custom molded water tanks specifically for the ProMaster, and it is molded over the wheel well, so it takes up that dead space. And then this box I just built around it to where I could mount stuff and build around it in that sense. But yeah, if you come around here, you can see my water fill port. So the reason I did it here instead of actually on the exterior, in a lot of vans you'll see the water actually has a port on the exterior of the van. But in doing so, you have to drill a hole through the side of the van. So by doing this, I can just open up my rear doors, fill up my tank, and there's no like major holes in the side of the van down the road. So that I preferred to do, as well as the drain for the water tank. So if you see, this is the little eye slit to where I can see my water level. So that's nice for when I'm starting to get low. I can kind of gauge how much water I have left. Typically with 22 gallons, I can get away with about a week or 2 weeks worth of brushing teeth, doing dishes. I do drink my sink water because it's double filtered. I have a filter I use before it hits the tank that connects to the water hose, and then I have another filter that it goes through before it goes to the faucet. So it actually tastes nice. It doesn't taste like RV water, plasticky at all. So that's something I wanted to prioritize because it's nice to be able to just drink your sink water and not have to like deal with jugs. But yeah, so this is the drain. So like on long trips, if I'm gonna drive across country, I'll drain all my water just to save weight and get better fuel efficiency. And then when I get somewhere, just fill up and you're set to go on that front. I'll pull this bike out just so you can see a little bit better on this other side, and I can show you where my electrical is all.
What's that bike?
This is my Cannondale Jekyll. So just signed with Cannondale this year. Gonna be a North American Enduro rider for them, mainly focused on the Big Mountain Enduro season. I'll be at the North American Enduro Cup, USA Cycling Nationals. We're gonna have a super fun year of bike racing, and I couldn't be more grateful for their support. But yeah, speaking of bike sponsors, I'm riding for Cannondale, Fast Company, Flow Formulas, and Look Cycle this year, all helping me make it happen and race bikes full time. But yeah, if you come on in, you'll see on this side of the van, this is a wheel well box that is housing most of my electrical components. So on the inside of this little cubby here, I can actually access my DC fuse box. So that's all my loads that are DC, like my lights, my USB plugins, my water pump, my fridge. Those are all on the DC distribution box. And essentially I can pop these two screws off, take this top plate off, and then get to service all those electrical parts. So just across here is where I have my solar charge controller. This is my DC to DC battery charger. So it's essentially like if you're getting a lot of days where there's no sunshine and your batteries are getting low, you can just fire up that van, flip the switch to on, and that will actually charge my batteries while the van's running off of the alternator. Underneath in this box is where all the magic happens. I have a Renogy 200 amp hour smart lithium battery. So it's a Bluetooth battery system. I can access data from my phone, check its capacity, check the solar readings, all that stuff, and right directly on top of the battery, so have it double stacked, because again, for the sake of efficiency and storage, I wanted my electrical to be as tight and tidy as possible. So I have a 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter stacked directly on top of my battery. So another one of the perks of having lithium is you can get more power for less space, and it's much lighter as well. So I have been super duper stoked on the electrical system on this van itself. This is actually my third van I've built, and I invested a bit more money in the electrical system to where I wouldn't have to stress and worry about it down the road. So, solar panels. So I have the Dometic, or I'm not actually sure, it's a Max Air fan. It's the roof fan, it's intake and exhaust. So I don't have AC in this van, but I also don't spend my summer months in hot climates. So the roof fan does what I need it to do to keep cool during those warmer days. But yeah, if you want to crawl on top of the ladder here, you can see what's going on up top. I have two 200 watt Renogy solar panels, and that is the powerhouse. Not complete yet. I've had it for a year and a half, and there's one spot left. If you see between those two cabinets where you can still see some of that Havelock wool insulation, my end goal here is to actually have a microwave and toaster unit combined permanently mounted here. One of the reasons why I haven't done it just yet is the heat dissipation. So like I'm still trying to figure out how much space I need and like the heat barrier I need, just so when I'm cooking and this thing's putting off some major heat, I don't run into issues with fire hazard there. But yeah, I mean, other than that, the other thing I would change about this build if I were to do it differently is I would make this cabinet that stores my clothes in the back shallower. I would probably make it about 4 to 6 inches less deep in order to have more foot space underneath. Because one of the big things about the ProMaster that people love is that you're able to sleep side to side, head to toe, because it's the widest cargo van in its class. This bed is 60 inches from head to toe, and I'm right at 6 foot. So I'm able to sleep side to side, and I put my head in that corner and my feet kind of sprawl out this corner. But if I would do it differently and have more foot space, that's just like one little thing I would change. You can find me on Instagram at Jingram_41. That's JINGRAM_41. Again, my name's Jake Ingram. I'm from Arkansas. You might see me at some Big Mountain Enduro races this year, traveling around, doing the bike racing thing.